Do you know when you are watching a really good movie? Everything is going great. Mom and dad are taking a walk, strolling down the street. The kids are fine. They're riding their bike. Everything is going great. And all of a sudden, you hear a suspense. Your heart just do begin because you know something is about to drop. My husband had been ringing in my ears that he wants to retire. I'm like, sir, to where? You're young. People that I know retire, they're in their 60s, 70s. Where are you retiring to? We started to talk about it. And in this season, I wanted to make sure that, because sometimes we get tired of what we're doing, right? Sometimes we don't want to work where we're working anymore. We get tired of our coworkers. The jobs get boring. I wanted to really know, is this what's going on? Or is God really trying to do something in that season? He came to me and said he wants to retire. We started praying. And the day that it happened, it was exactly what he illustrated. But God had been working on me because knowing that your husband, who is the breadwinner of the home, you have 2 children and a dog to take care of. How are we going to do it? That would mean that the financial responsibilities of the home, that I may have to carry it for a while, right? It was a scary position to be in, especially when you're doing it by yourself, especially when you don't consult God. Like I said, if you ever think for a second that my husband might be broken, you need to go talk to God. And that's exactly what I did. There are 3 things that I did that I'm going to talk to you about today. The first thing was validation. Somebody say validation. One of the mistakes of mankind was that he didn't validate. Imagine when the devil came to Eve and said, eat this fruit. And then Eve went to Adam and said, eat this fruit. Just picture if Adam went back to God to validate. God, did you change your mind? Are you saying something else now? Mankind did not do that. Instead, he listened to his woman, which is not a bad thing. We'll get to that later. He listened, and that's how we're all here. Just imagine if he went back to God to confirm. Anything in our relationship, anything that we hear, and we're privileged, we're humbled that we hear from God. Anytime either of us hear from God, guess what we do? We go back to God. Is this a feeling? Is this an emotion? Or is this what you're leading us to? I went to God, asked him, are you telling this man to truly retire? The second thing I did was to examine purpose. Somebody say purpose. If you're doing anything in life, if it doesn't have a purpose, don't do it. What did I say? If you are trying to buy a car or go to school or whatever it is, have children, if you can't clearly articulate what the purpose is, you're not ready. With this situation with my husband, I not only knew his purpose, I knew my purpose, I knew God's purpose for us, but most importantly, he had been walking in his purpose. So when he came and said, it's time to retire, I'm not panicking and said, baby, what are you going to do with your life now? He was already doing it. Before I met him, he was already advising married people. Before we even got married, he had been fixing marital problems. He was already walking in his purpose. So there was no confusion. I was not confused. Some women, they're not here though. They're not in higher ground. It's hard to support your spouse because you're not sure why that man wants to do it. And some men, they'll be like, oh, babe, we need 5,000 today. I want to do this project. 2 days later, oh, my buddy told me there's this new business. Can we put 10,000? You're doing things without a purpose. You have to have a purpose. So in our relationship and in this particular scenario, not only, again, it was clear to both of us, we had to go back to God too. Is this still your purpose for our lives? Because in Proverbs, it says that there's so many dreams that a man could have. We're dreamers. You should be dreaming. It means you're still awake. But not every dream is to be pursued. And sometimes it should be pursued, but this is not the appointed time. Imagine retiring in your early 30s. What if that's not the appointed time? Right? This is our destiny now. It's not jokes. It's not funny. Because if something happened, we were to be put out of our home with 2 kids and a dog, where do we go? Do we come to your house? I had to hear from God about to validate and to clearly have the purpose. The third thing that I examined was track record. Somebody say track record. As the day you're born, that's when your track record begins. That's when your report card begins, as soon as you're born. I happen to marry a man that has an excellent track record. Thank you. Please help me appreciate my husband. I married a man who is intentional, who will start something and will see it through. Sometimes I'm like, babe, it's okay. We can let that go. Let's move on to something. He has to finish it. He won't give up. I married a man that if he starts something and he sets his mind to it, even if it fails, we're gonna see it through. He has that integrity. So calling American Express to say, I'd like to add a line. Trust me, if I didn't hear from God, I wouldn't do it. Because $100,000 is not small money. It's not. Some women have done it. Give the car to the man. The man will run away with the money. I'm sure you've heard stories. It's on my credit. And you know, if you want to apply to something in America, what do they ask for? Your credit. So being in this season of our lives where things are changing, things are evolving, two steady income, every 2 weeks paycheck has now become one. And as an entrepreneur, sometimes you get plenty, sometimes you get few, sometimes you get none. And that's just the reality of it. So making that step to call American Express and say, I'd like to add a line for my husband. Do you know the interesting thing? Even as the lady that I was talking to, she said, ma'am, have you thought this through? Are you sure?
May God punish that woman.
We forgive her.
We have mercy on her.
But that's reality. She's probably heard stories just like me and you. She wanted to be sure. She even asked, is your husband there? She wanted to get a feel like, is somebody pressuring you to do this? And I said, no, I'm in my right mind. Just imagine if I didn't extend that offer to him based on validation, hearing from God, making sure that, yes, he's calling us to do this, identifying his purpose. When God created Adam, he gave him a purpose. So men here, before you ask for that thing from your wife, make sure you can speak to that purpose, why you want to do it. Same thing with women. There has to be a purpose. And knowing his track record, knowing that this man will not run away. Where is he running to? Stuck with me for life. He can't run. And I knew it was an investment. Married couple here, you have to see anything that you do for your spouse as an investment. Whether he pays you back, God pays you back. Somehow, you're going to be blessed. There's no borrowing in our relationship. There's no IOU. Because what's mine is also his. So based on these three things, I was confident. I had God right behind me to back me up. Was it a scary journey? Absolutely. But with God, all things are possible. I handed him that card, kneeling down, actually. That you've not asked me for this. This is not something you're begging for. And if I hadn't given him that card, this man would have pushed through. It may have taken him longer time. Some women will watch their spouse suffer. They'd rather sit there and watch him just toil and toil and toil and get nothing. And you have the very thing that he needs in your hands. Everybody, open your hands. See, I release it to my spouse.
Say it confidently. That you really mean this. I release it. Eh?
That very thing, it could be a gift. It could be, in our case, financially. It could be prayers. Some couple, you know what to pray for him. The couple that shared a testimony, God bless them. I love them so much. I don't really know them, but just seeing them so happy all the time. I mean, I know God is doing something great in their lives. But he said, my wife prayed Job on me. Job 2, I believe. Joel 2. She prayed until something happened with him. He had no money, no nothing, and she prayed it. Meaning the key of his success was in her hands. Husbands, maybe you need to have a conversation with your wives. Ask them, Ma, please, where's the key?
Where is the key to unlock this destiny? Awesome.
So power is not about, because when people hear power dynamic, they're thinking, oh, one person has to overpower. It's not overpowering the other, but rather it's empowering, extending an arm. Do you get me? Are you following? So we have to start lifting each other up with our power. And this may not look like this for you. For in your family, it could be power, it could be health. If you're strong in one area, like my husband said, if you're strong in doing finances, help your home. Some women here, they are C-level executives at their jobs. They're helping their companies thrive every single day. But you will watch your husband, his business, you won't even ask, but you're building another man's business. Those women are not here. They don't go to higher ground. So if you treat your partner like a blessing, guess what? Your marriage is going to experience blessing. And if you treat your partner like a burden, what's it going to be like? A burden. So which one do you want? You have to choose. Amen?
Awesome. Please. That was... Yeah.